Good morning and happy Saturday. It is cloudy outside today and the wind is kind of blowing, so I feel like it may rain. I'll show you just what I'm talking about. See what I mean? It is so gray today. But that's okay, because it is the weekend, and so, I mean, if we wanted to, we could just hang out at home, no big deal. But we probably won't. We'll probably go someplace. Anyway, before we go anyplace, or before the kiddo and I decide what to do for the rest of the day, I'm going to do the daily spread. This will be day 7? No, it can't possibly be day 7. I feel like it's day 7 already, and I'm a little taken aback by that because this week has really flown by. And again, this exercise, this kind of daily exercise, is really just to play around with style, play around with materials, play around with colors, and knowing that you don't have to show this to anybody ever, and you could even throw it away or rip pages out when you're done. It doesn't matter. There is no hard and fast rule. There is no right and wrong at all. Really playing around with letting your authentic voice shine through, which comes in the form of which colors you naturally like. Not what you're supposed to like, not the colors that are supposed to go together, but which colors you actually like. Which materials you enjoy playing with the most. Some people like colored pencils, some people like paint, some people like, ink and dip pen or something like that. So, and some people, like me, like a variety of materials because I really love texture and the variety of texture and the depth that comes from layering. So that's my personal enjoyment or style, I guess, or a foundation of my personal style. And I just saw a video of Flora Bowley. So if you don't know Flora Bowley, she's pretty well known in the intuitive art world. And she released a new course this summer, with her friend Lindsay Links. And it's all about finding your style. And she says flat out in the video that she has noticed, and it's not that she's angry about it, but she's noticed that all these people are creating art that looks exactly like hers and calling it their own. And it's not so much, and I totally second this thought, or this, I can't even speak this morning, guys, sorry. This emotion, this message, I guess. It's not so much, anger and frustration at the fact that everybody's copying and calling it their own. It's the fact that if you're here on the planet, you're here to speak your voice. There are all these people on the planet, and everybody has the potential to have an authentic voice. So why would anyone want to waste the precious days, weeks, hours, months, years they have on this planet being somebody else or pretending to be somebody else, when what you could be doing is using this time maximally to be fully you? And the only way you can be fully you is to allow the true you to come out as much as possible, and to honor it, and to appreciate it, and to dig deeper and deeper into it, and to be proud of it. And if you're resigned to copying someone else, or to making artwork that looks like somebody else whose artwork is already approved of in the online world, one, you don't even have their energy, you don't have their voice, you're just a shell of what they have already created. There's no way that you're going to be able to match the intensity and the emotion and the energy of their work anyway. And two, every time you copy, you've missed an opportunity to be more fully yourself, to uncover another new piece of yourself, or not even necessarily a new piece because it's already there, but to uncover what makes you you, and therefore what makes you uniquely magnetic to others. So you're not going to have that magnetism until you can fully own your own authentic voice. And so I'll get off my soapbox now. That turned into a little more of a soapbox than I was expecting. But how about if we get to painting? All right, I am back out at the table on the porch. So we've got day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, So today is definitely day 7. And I didn't show you all my materials, but it's pretty much a variety of what I've already been using. If you didn't catch the earlier videos, this is a watercolor palette I made by taking plastic water bottle caps and beer bottle caps, gluing a magnet to the bottom, and then filling them with tube watercolors that I let dry. And I think these are all Daniel Smith watercolors, and I feel like starting with watercolors this morning. I haven't activated these yet, so it's not going to be as juicy of a watercolor experience right from the start. I'm just putting some water into the different pans right now so they can all begin to loosen up and activate. And just, I almost dipped my brush into my coffee, which I didn't do, but I almost did. And so I am just I'm really enjoying the lusciousness of this color. And this is where, watercolor can be transparent. You can see how transparent it is over here. And then it can be more opaque. So if I really load up my brush and don't have as much water, the same color can be both light and super dark. And that's one of the things I love about watercolor is the versatility and the variety of marks and hues and texture. Definitely texture. Now I'm feeling like bringing in some of this darker blue. And just making marks. Marks that I enjoy. Again, I'm not trying to do anything. All I'm doing is following my own, I'm not even thinking about it, to be honest. I'm just making marks on the page and letting it be. I also have some Inktense pencils. So these are water activated kind of colored pencils. And I'm just gonna add this one in here. This is a deep violet and the Derwent Inktense. So I guess it's actually like ink in a pencil form, but it's similar to a watercolor pencil. The colors are simply a lot more intense, so Inktense, intense, than typical watercolor pencils when you do activate it. And some of the little watercolor bits I am coloring through are still wet, and some I'm coloring over are dry already, so then that also gives me the delight, the surprise and delight, as I like to say, of not knowing what the mark's going to be. And then I could go in and activate some of these lines a little bit, although I don't feel the need to do a lot of this. I kind of like the contrast of the pencil with the existing watercolor. And as I mentioned before too, the reason I have, kind of a variety of supplies, and I don't have, they don't take up that much space, but I do have a variety of supplies because I do allow myself, every month or so, pardon me, sip of coffee, to indulge in a new supply to play with. Whether it's a new color of a supply I know I already like, or a new type of a supply, a new version of a supply that I already like, or something completely new. So I don't have huge sets of everything, but I do invest in variety. So, I've got these Prismacolor watercolor pencils because they were on sale on Amazon last year. So I bought a few sets of those. I've got the Derwent Inktense. I do have, I think maybe a few of 2 other different brands of watercolor pencils. I think I've got some Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer watercolor pencils. And I feel like there's one other brand that I also have. Yeah, so this was the Prismacolor watercolor pencil Peacock Blue, and not that it matters. This is a mermaid marker, Moonbeam. So I'm gonna just smush this around in various areas. And again, no agenda. I don't have a plan. And, you know, to be honest, looking at what I'm doing, you can't even really tell I'm doing anything. But I am following my intuition. I'm not questioning it. I'm just saying, all right, this is what I feel like doing. So here I go. Here I go. And just smushing it around. And it is activating a little bit of the watercolor in some places. Some of it is because there's still a few puddles of watercolor that are not yet dry, like over here. And then some of it is, you know, I'm just adding another layer of dimension and texture and fun. So smushing that around. And then I'm feeling drawn to pick up another mermaid marker. This is Milky Way. These had been in storage and have kind of been through the seasons, so that's why they're so messy. You can see it's getting all over my hands because they've kind of, I don't know, not leaked a little necessarily, but now I'm feeling like turning it on its side. And just smushing some more around in various places. And yeah, I mean, these are just, I'm just feeling into the marks and the movements that I feel like making right now. Right now, my hand just feels like it wants to slide back and forth. So that's where that's coming from. It's not a professionally sanctioned, I guess, art technique. An intuitive, indulging in what I like technique. So I'm just doing more of it. And I have even brought out this big brush. So I've got this bigger kind of flat brush that I've got, this Liquitex brush, because I thought I might want to make some bigger fields of color. And who knows, maybe I will. I did bring some gesso out here. And maybe I won't. I just grabbed kind of a handful of things to have on hand as options to draw from, pun intended. And it's time for another sip of coffee. And then I've got a graphite stick here that's coming up next. I'm just adding in some graphite. And allowing it to add more depth and dimension and texture. And this is an 8B. This is the, I think, Kohinoor Hardtmuth graphite sticks. So there is no wood. It's a woodless pencil. And just going through here and adding a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And it really is a process of, you know, being patient too. I mean, I'm not spending a lot of time on these. And I'm also not, I'm willing to see where this goes as opposed to needing it to go somewhere right away, or to have a plan, you know, right out of the gate. And right now I am feeling drawn to use orange. I'm really loading up my brush with not a lot of water, so this is going to be kind of a thicker application. And I'm just kind of playing around with different amounts of pressure. You can see where I have lighter pressure and there's more of a brush mark. And I'm playing around with less pressure. And I'm getting a little bit more water and really loading up my brush again in the orange watercolor. And I find it funny, you know, because a lot of people think of watercolor and they think, you know, of pastels and really light, kind of frilly paintings. And for me, what I love about watercolor is the intensity of the pigment that you can get. And as I've said before, you know, the variety, how you can use it, the same tool, you know, for multiple effects, multiple
effects and techniques and all that kind of stuff. And it's really cool to notice, you know, in some places, well, in a lot of places, especially the mermaid marker tends to bleed through whatever layers you put on top. So that's kind of a fun effect. It's fun to feel like you can really go into this piece. But again, I'm not doing this consciously. I'm not saying, oh, I need to add more depth, or I need to add this, or this composition feels blah. I'm just doing it. Just doing it. And feeling around, kind of moving my hand around the page and feeling, oh, I want to make another mark here. I want to make another mark here. And then that feels good for the orange. I did bring out this orange pencil too, which I will add in some other places just for, and this is another of the Derwent ink tints. It's called Sienna Gold. I'm trying to make an effort to bring out some of the tools that I have, but I haven't necessarily used as much. And for whatever reason, I mean, this has worked out perfectly, that the colors I have out here, and then this kind of color scheme is formed on its own. I'm having a really fun time noticing how the ink pencil is reacting to the layers underneath. Yeah, there we go. And I realize I'm being a little bit quiet this morning. Maybe you're feeling more meditative as well whenever you are watching this video. But yeah, I mean, I already have been flipping back through the pages that I've created so far, just out of curiosity and noticing kind of the themes and what is similar. And to tell the truth, I mean, I guess I kind of have found a lot of my style already, because some of the pages are so similar. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's not very creative. But, you know, that's kind of an external pressure and a judgment that I'm putting on myself, right? If I'm judging the way that I am authentically creating, and it's authentically who I am, you know, kind of like, you know, we as humans, I think, tend to judge what we look like. And, you know, if you're just born with certain features, you're just born with certain features. You know, why do we feel a need to change them? You know, in some cases, in a permanent way. So yeah, and then that is feeling good for this pencil. My dog's over here trying to get my coffee because he loves coffee too. I don't know why, but he always has to lick the he always has to lick the bottom of my cup. And now this is feeling actually like it's almost done. I'm feeling satisfied with this. So I'm pulling out a Stabilo. It feels like this green I'm feeling. And I'm just looking over the other colors to see if I want to pull out another, maybe this pink, but I'm not super drawn to this pink. When I look at what I've created, it just feels solid to me right now. But I'm just going to add some more little bits in here. And, you know, I don't feel like making really big moves right now. So I'm just adding kind of some little subtle bits wherever I feel like adding a subtle bit. And there's dog barking. My dog barking. It's kind of funny. I think it partially may be because it's overcast that I am feeling, I don't know, like a little extra meditative this morning. And yeah, just kind of quiet. Just kind of quiet and meditative. Except for maybe the dogs are compensating for my for my quietness, my toned downness this morning. So yeah, I'm just little bits here and there. No plan, just enjoying. I mean, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. I think that's a good sign when I shut up, right? That I'm just really getting into it and creating my own little expression. And I'm feeling like maybe a little more down here. And then it's feeling like pink. No, I'm not feeling the pink right now. I am feeling like a little more watercolor though. I feel like yellow, and I feel like I want to really dig into the yellow. So I'm just pulling out my little bottle cap that you can see has got some water in it already, and I'm just gonna load that up with a whole lot of pigment. And then just kind of make some little, again, this isn't planned, this is just what I feel like doing. And yes, the dogs are definitely feeling like compensating for my general lack of words today, I guess. Lack of words. There's actually a dog barking in the distance that they are responding to. And it's always interesting timing too, right? So, always interesting timing. And add a little more. Add a little more. Just kind of going a little faster now. Going a little faster. And all right, now just feeling into, is there anything more that I want to add? And I kind of feel like no. I feel like this is kind of good. So with that, all right, there we go. The final spread. Let's bring you in a little closer, just so you can see the different textures that are present throughout, and the variation in opacity and transparency. And I mean, there is a little part of me, so I'm not always completely cool, calm, and collected about this process either. There are times when oh, there's Ronan. There are times when I say to myself, you know, well, how boring is that? All of your spreads are looking like patterns, you know, like patterns and textures, and you know, I feel like I've got a style that carries through, but there's part of me that's saying, oh, well, you should really make yourself go out of the box and yada, yada, yada. And I can, and I may. However, for whatever reason, this is what felt good to do today. And so I am quieting that little critical voice and saying, you know what? This is what came through today. Who knows what's going to evolve through the rest of this book? But this is what I created today. It felt good. It feels good. I'm happy, and that's all that needs to be said. You know, this is the now moment, and things change in every moment, so tomorrow might be completely different.
And with that, I will say farewell until tomorrow. Happy painting. I would love to hear, you know, what you're discovering about your own style, what you're comfortable with, what you're uncomfortable with, what you may see or feel opening up or not. And let's continue this journey. It's fun. I'm having fun, and I hope you're having fun too.